What is going on, guys? We are back with another rebuild on Madden 23, and today it is of the Tennessee Titans. Now, disclaimer early, because this isn't something I think should or will happen, but there's been swirlings that the Titans may be a team that looks to trade up for a quarterback. I think this would be, I wouldn't say a catastrophic mistake, but this would probably not be a good idea, as they have easily become one of the worst rosters in the league, and without Derrick Henry, they are easily the worst in the league, but that guy, he just runs through everyone. This offensive line is in shambles. Taylor Lewan, of course, is no longer here. Ben Jones is no longer here. Julio Jones didn't work out too well. Robert Woods definitely didn't work out. They're back at square one, basically, with wide receiver. You could obviously argue, the whole A.J. Brown thing. I'm sorry, Titans fans, you probably don't want to hear about him, but at the same time, it's like you kind of got a decent pick with it, and Treylon Burks has potential. I think he actually, if he stays healthy, he's got potential, right? I mean, it's a salary situation with A.J. Brown, not just talent, so you can kind of see why they would move on, but yeah, it's not looking great right now, looking back. Defense is definitely more talented than offense, but once again, we need linebackers. Pass rusher, they went with Arden Key, who in game probably is useless, but in real life, actually very underrated, so we'll see what happens there, but I can't imagine he's going to be anything for us. Cornerbacks, I signed Rock Yassin, and then, of course, they signed Sean Murphy-Bunting to a nice one-year 3.5, so is it 3.5, 4.5? I have it right, I just forgot right now on the top of my head. Not a bad little tester contract. Also kind of think, like, speaking of tester contracts, even though O-line kind of get paid a lot, why is Dalton Risner not a Titan yet? I don't know what's going on, but like I said, with the disclaimer, I don't think they should trade up for a quarterback, but I am absolutely interested to see what would happen if they do. There very well could be them trading up. I kind of project this to be like a 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick, which with this roster could be, giving up a top 5 pick next season perhaps, which would be really bad, but if you land your franchise quarterback, there's very little value you could give up that wouldn't make it worth it, right? So there's a good chance this is going to be Anthony Richardson, but we're going to see as maybe, there's been rumblings Anthony Richardson goes 1, goes 2. I mean, Texans don't go quarterback at pick 2. If that is the case, I'm going to allow us to take whatever quarterback's there. There is a lot of rumblings that it's not going to be QB at 2. I think it would be, I wouldn't say crazy, but even though the Texans are a team that's expecting to be top 5 like almost every year, if you think you got your guy this year, which it looks pretty decent, it's like if pick 1 is Bryce Young, will the Texans leave it? I don't know, but we're going to find out. I'm going to let the board fall as it is. Obviously, number 1 has to be QB, though. If number 1's not QB, this whole thing's going to be sucky, because obviously, we know that's a lock. Another signing I also made was we needed a kicker because they got rid of Bullock, and then we needed a linebacker, so Rashaan Evans joins the team again. I almost actually forgot that he was here before, which you can argue, it's unrealistic. Why would he come back? Clearly, if he was good, I don't care, dude. This team's desperate. Who cares? Both sides are desperate. Rashaan Evans isn't, he's not demanding crazy money. A 3-year, 1-year, $3 million deal from anyone, he's probably joining at this rate. But yeah, speaking of Dalton Risner, can't get him because he's not currently a free agent in game, even though he should be. There's only so much I can do. A lot of people always ask, how do I have the Panthers at number 1 and the Bears at 9 and whatnot? I make the trade every time. So what I usually do is I find the lowest about to be released player on the team I'm rebuilding, and then I boost their ratings to 99, trade them over for the Panthers picks and DJ Moore, and then I trade it to the Bears, and I trade pick 1 to the Panthers, and then I make those good players I traded really bad. So that's how I do that. As far as other free agency players, there's guys that are supposed to be there, there's guys that aren't. They join other teams. There's just only so much I can do, right? Like, it would take me 5 hours to set up every rebuild if I was to make every single move to the team that they're supposed to be on, All right, well, here it is. Pick 11, 43, and pick 11 projected next year to the Cardinals for pick number 3. I mean, that is value-wise technically an overtrade, but at the same time, when you look at the fact that maybe the Titans, because this once again is kind of a weaker division, they somehow win the division, in the year. That trade is a massive L for the Cardinals, so they are still taking a risk. While very unlikely, it is a possibility, whereas, other teams have traded like now value, where it's like you're guaranteeing good value, right? So Yeah, I mean, it's a risk for us, it's a risk for them, but ultimately I think they do win that trade. But like I said, I want to see if this whole rumored trade up is going to actually happen, how that would play out. Because I think if we go the inverse, I think it would be very simple. Like, what they should probably do at 11 is probably take wide receiver or offensive lineman. Those are like really, well, I guess edge as well. But, you know, they shouldn't take any like linebacker. They shouldn't take, I mean, corner, I guess. But I think realistically you want a wide receiver for this team. So that's probably what happens in real life, but you never know. Like I said, if you guys have been enjoying these types of rebuilds where we do, real life scenarios / rumored picks, or just in general the real life, upcoming class kind of rebuilds, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe if you're not new. Really appreciate your continued support. And we are headed to the draft. All right, so the Panthers have no quarterback. The Colts are sad because we have just hopped them for a quarterback. So unless, they make some crazy trade with the Panthers here, which would be really, really risky for the Panthers to give up so much to get to 1, to potentially lose out on all their quarterbacks, as it could be 3 and now maybe 4 straight quarterbacks. I don't think would happen. So the Colts maybe take the L there, and the Panthers do not, as they take C.J. Stroud. So the kind of simple solution to getting them to take quarterback, because for some reason they love Miles Murphy, is to make all their quarterbacks punters, make Yetur Gross-Matos a 90-plus overall, and then it just solves all issues. So this pick should be Bryce Young. If it's not, the Titans have just went crazy, and it is Bryce Young. And at this pick, I think it is going to be Mr. Anthony Richardson. While you love those defenders, you can't trade up this much for a defender, in my opinion. Unless you're like, Philadelphia, perhaps, because, they already have a really good roster. You can maybe risk a little bit more to try to get like an Anderson or a Carter. That's just, I don't think you can do it if you're us. So it's either quarterback or nothing. Anthony Richardson's going to be the guy. 95 throw power, hidden development trade. And while it's really tempting to start him, and it's the smart thing to do Madden-wise, I think if we're talking pure realism, unless, Ryan Tannehill just craps it in preseason or gets injured, I just don't see how Anthony Richardson can win the job over him right out the gate. And the Colts say, we want an Anthony Richardson. If we're not getting him, we're taking Will Anderson. I actually love that pick. Seattle probably takes Jalen Carter, and the rest is history. We now move on to the 3rd-round pick, which, this is so tough to rebuild with basically no draft picks. And then next year, we're missing our first. This pick, I think, is going to be a wide receiver, though. We need some talent there. And, develop that a little bit. Can we get someone decent? A.T. Perry with the athleticism is there. I think you look no further. Boom. I really wanted Michael Wilson for the blocking abilities. Obviously a run-first team, but A.T. Perry is just too solid looking to pass on, I think. Maybe this isn't the smartest trade for the Bears, but they end up getting a 7th-round pick next year for 10 spots in the 5th, which, rather have that be a this-year trade for them to even consider that, but it is what it is. We overtraded. Some teams get lucky, some teams get unlucky. I think with this pick, even though there's still wide receivers there, which would be interesting, I think we are going to go with offensive line. I believe, just making sure, and we are. We're going to go with Killian Zierer. Maybe not the athlete that Taylor Lewan is and was, but they get themselves another massive tackle, and he will be the new left tackle, I believe. Or we keep Dillard there and just, whatever happens, all right? Dwayne McBride, I think, is going to be the replacement for Derrick Henry at some point, maybe, or just a good complimentary back. Maybe you don't have to break Derrick Henry's back to run the ball anymore if Dwayne McBride can at least bolster some of the load. I honestly think, outside of Justin Fields, who they have already seemingly turned it around for this upcoming season, there is no tougher position to play in the league than running back for the Titans if your name is Derrick Henry. Where's Bishop Sankey when you need him? Of course, who the hell is this guy? Cornerback depth, why not? I don't know. Looked way better than his kind of key ratings there, or what it showed, but that's an okay draft. We got ourselves a wide receiver, got ourselves a tackle, got ourselves a franchise quarterback. Landed some other things. Have no 1st-round pick next year. And we have a trade for... Why did I forget about him, by the way? We don't even need Rock Ya-Sin. Why did I forget about him? Well, I guess to be fair, he's not... He's kind of forgettable, I'll be honest with you. I still think he should start. Rock Ya-Sin wasn't very good last season, so it's not like my whatever cheap deal I signed him to forces him to start, but... it does make it look pretty stupid that I'm not starting him, but it is what it is. This is the way our lineup's going to look like for this season, and that's about that. It's pretty much the base, right? Like Monty Rice, the number 2, Evans. I would love to get an edge rusher there, but we did what we could with the limited picks we kind of had after the trade. That's not bad. It's not. It could be a lot worse, let me tell you. We also got a mentor rookie out the gate, which makes you feel better about drafting a running back when we have Haskins as a backup. But either way, we got a star dev, Dwayne McBride. Totally worth it. Here we go. Season 1 roster. Definitely a lot more to be done, but we at least got ourselves a new right tackle, and that's kind of it, honestly. A.T. Perry, new quarterback 2. But we'll see what happens with Ryan Tannehill. Do we start him now? Do we give him a season so we can at least develop the roster a little bit more, get some free agent linemen or something? Defensively, it doesn't look that bad. DBs, depending on how the progression goes, specifically with Farley, might have ourselves a, the starters set. Right end, I want to keep him long-term. Landry, we, obviously keep him long-term. Byard and Hooker, hopefully long-term. But yeah, there will be some guys that need to be replaced, like Byard's, like 30 now, and Henry's 29 or so. We're hoping that the development can go quickly with certain players, and hopefully we have ourselves another really good offseason next year, but can't really expect a whole lot this season, going to be honest. So we have a ton of money and a ton of really talented players to get re-signed. I mean, at this point, I'm committed to Derrick Henry. And then Simmons, I've heard some rumblings about him being traded as well, which, I mean, I could see Henry, but, like, Simmons? Really? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I get wanting to rebuild, but you got to have some core players, especially when they're young, right? Well, it looks like Tart is sticking around as he is now a start development trade player. Not the greatest long-term option, but Star makes him worth it, I think. Are we in the playoffs? Are we actually in the playoffs? We're not. So what had happened was he actually had a pretty good year, and then we lost 3 or 4 straight, while all the time we had Tannehill at the starter. Then I decided to put in Anthony Richardson as the season kind of seemed like it was being lost. Gotta admit, Anthony Richardson, very similar, if not better, than Tannehill. This is kind of what we expected to happen, right? Tannehill plays for a season, Richardson learns, doesn't die by playing with a really bad group of players, and Derrick Henry does Derrick Henry things. Receivers, Treylon Burks should be star. A.T. Perry was okay. I guess for a rookie, that's good, but Madden terms, it's not great. Quanquo, he's 655. It's all right. Kyle Phillips playing that 3 spot on a non-passing team, really. What can you expect? 12 sacks allowed for a center. Killian Zier was actually pretty damn good. Sack totals, Landry at 11.5, Arden Key with 7.5, Simmons with 10, and then Autry with 2. Picks were really bad. 5 total interceptions. Kicker missed 4, but 2 were blocked, and then the punter was great as he was as a rookie. Any award wins? I can't really think of one that we would have had, and not enough touchdowns for Burks to really compete for, best wide receiver or anything like that. Yeah, best running back, obviously. Not enough touchdowns for Burks. Otherwise, he maybe would have had a chance. Really? Number 5. All right. Okay, not bad, I suppose. Number 8, linebacker at number 6. DB, definitely not. And then kicker, definitely not. But, I mean, considering this is a team that could have easily given up a top 10 or a top 5 pick, for us to be like just outside the top 10 or just barely inside the top 10, one of the two, after not having our own first-round pick, it's not the worst thing, I suppose. We had an okay season. There's certain players that might have dev-ups, and Anthony Richardson showed promise. Tannehill was actually not terrible, but he will be going to free agency, as Richardson is now the future. Bird battle in the Super Bowl. I don't know how the hell the Falcons are in here, but let's see what they got. I guess to be fair, I don't know where Levis went. Maybe he was a Falcon. I've seen it happen, actually. And the winner is the Ravens. I don't expect that to happen, but I'm not here to judge that. All right, any dev-ups at all? Thankfully, Treylon. I was worried about the touchdowns. Of course, no one else on offense. Didn't really expect anyone to be. And then defensively, should be 2. It's not 2. It's actually just Simmons. I thought Key and or Landry would have done enough at the respective dev levels to go up, but they did not, which is a bit of an L, not going to lie. Farley barely went up. I mean, we got some wins, but also some L's. And I wish I could put a lock on, upgrades, so then Derrick Henry wouldn't, use an upgrade point, but I'm going to go with elusive back. Best chance to get speed and all that, and he's already been pretty good at trucking. Didn't really get what I was hoping for there, but what was his progression? He didn't lose anything, surprisingly. I'm hoping for some big names. Justin Herbert is not a big name that counts, because he's not going to be there. Any names that we can afford and should afford? Jay Jeudy is potentially, Marquise Brown, another potential name. Wide receiver wouldn't hurt, but I don't know if I'm going to use Treylon Burks as a starter, if that's really a position of need. Grover Stewart, division rival. I mean, we need everything we can get. I say Isaiah Simmons back at linebacker wouldn't hurt. Not the best group of free agents, but at the same time, I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. So we have definitely got to add a lineman, a linebacker as well, and then maybe a DT. All right, well, the wide receivers are solid. Ooh, I have to offer more for Simmons. Well, the wide receivers are solid. We just don't need that position right now based on how we played last season with the guys we had and the progression future of those guys. I think it just is smart to avoid overpaying for a wide receiver while they are good. And then Simmons, it's a little expensive, but for Madden terms, he's a good player. So we're just going to roll with that fact. And I don't know if we're actually going to get any of these guys because like every time they're changing. Grover Stewart obviously is a little bit outside of the realm of who we normally would go for at this point. Because once again, we're going for a guy that's like win now versus win later. But I like him, and the other DTs suck. And Oliver is like the only other guy, and he's just a name at this point. Like he really is. His ratings are not great. He's like 79 finesse, 79 block shed, which is just not the best. Right, all 5 players are gone. Who did we get? Jonah Williams, Jewel, and Jalen Johnson, which really sucks because Stewart, fair enough. It's a 1 year 11, whatever. But Simmons, this is the dumbest thing ever. I overpaid. I went crazy because I was desperate. He decided to go to the Jets, a team that is not very good. It's good, but it's not like Super Bowl ready good. For a 3-year, $16 million, I offered him 3 years, three-year, $26 million. My bad. A 3-year, $42. I went crazy because I was desperate. I went nutso mode, and yet he chose how much less? I don't care who you are. You're not declining that. You just aren't. You just simply aren't. I actually got lied to on this one. The Bears 2 years 16, fair enough. I offered him a 2-year 18, but I was the only team with a green interest. The rest were all yellow or lower. I don't know what's going on, but at least we found we got a couple of players. We had a Kinlaw, and there's this 69 overall youngster that looks pretty raw, I will admit, but he's 22 years old. If we can't get a linebacker, this guy's a great young option, I suppose. Decent block shed, but obviously that zone coverage is rough. So we're now officially in the draft, and there are some really solid players, but I think knowing the needs we have, I think we might have to trade down because we don't have that first-round pick. We'd love to have pick 12 here. We'd trade that down and just land so much talent. We'd probably land this guy. We land the whole damn offensive line and then some. But what I would love to at least land out, get out with would be Bates. And what else do we have? The tight end for sure because he's really athletic. And then at least 2 linemen. So that's the goal. I think I'm going to trade down, hoping Holloman stays like extra late. I doubt he will. But if he's there like 25, that would be clutch. So we're going to trade down. Whatever happens, happens. But we need to add at least a third this year, I think. The Browns covered. Pick 44 and Weaver for 54 and 86. It's a little bit in their favor, or in our favor in general, but that is kind of how a trade-up works. Typically, you have to give up more than just even. And they landed the lineman we wanted, which tells me we're not going to have this guard. Yeah, another guard goes, whatever. We're just going to move down to this pick. We still have other options, so it's not like the biggest deal in the world, but obviously it would be nice to grab some talent. Who do we have? And the guard is still there, actually. We need so many linemen. You almost still debate passing on him. He's so good, but 1, 2, 3, even though this third guy doesn't look that great, versus this guy and maybe one other if we're lucky. Man, he looks solid, though. How old is he? 21, 32 reps. Christian Holloman it is. Oh, I sold. He's normal. Even if he was hidden, it was debatable that maybe I should have traded down. Oh, that hurts. In a situation where we need like every draft pick to count, that is a step back. We give up FIP next year to move up 7 spots with the Eagles this year, which will be the DT, I believe. And then at 22... don't know if that tight end's going to be there, but I'm probably going to make a play for him. Although that center looks even better, so maybe one of the two. But with this pick, it is definitely going to be Mr. Earl Bates, who is 21 years old. Little undersized, kind of, but super athletic, strong, a finesse. Welcome to the squad. Hidden development trait there, which is a nice win. I think we needed him, right? Because we lost Autry, so there's that. and we didn't get any DT. I think I tried for Kinlaw. Maybe I got him, but he was a 1-year 5. That's depth regardless. So the center we wanted is gone, but the guard is still there. The tight end's obviously still there as well. And edge wouldn't hurt, but I think tight end is the biggest need, and then we're just going to work from there based on what we see. But yeah, obviously elite speed, elite jumping, elite excel, elite a great agility, good change of direction, a 4.54 in general, an A catch in traffic, A catch in. We're one of our top fits, apparently. He's going to be our guy, junior still. It's a hidden dev player. He looked great as expected and is good, thankfully. That's a good pick. I'm happy with it. Obviously, there's not much to hate about that pick. Ooh, they took Justin Moulton. I wasn't guaranteed to want to grab him and have to grab him, but yeah, I mean, I probably would have taken him if he was there. The guard's still there. I think maybe we should have made a trade up for the guard, so the fact that he is here is take that and run. Lawrence Barwin, 21 years old. Not the strongest, not the most athletic, but the key ratings look good enough, and oh, Lord. This is, that's probably the worst luck I've had on lineman hiddens. Normally we land multiple, and I landed multiple normals. Thankfully, the other guys were, hidden, but O-line not being hidden, that's so, it takes a long time to develop linemen, and yet here we are just not developing any. 7th this and a 6th next to move up to that spot. I almost said pot, because I mixed up pot and pick or spot and pick. Of course, did get Jonah Williams, which I kind of forgot about, which is nice, but Marquise Hawkins is the choice. 97 speed, 97 excel. He is blazing fast, kind of maybe like a running back if he's elusive, but yeah, we're not going to do that for this team. We need a strong power back, not a small, he's going to die with one hit pick. All right, let's take a look at these overalls. Considering we had a couple of hiddens in here, not bad. The offensive lineman is still probably starter worthy. And the guard, both guards are actually pretty good. They're just not hidden, it's just the way it is. These guys that were hidden, I can't imagine are going to be higher than star. If I was going to bet on one, though, it probably would be the tight end. The tight ends are usually higher than star. DT is not, like I said, pretty expected. But here is the guy that I would love to see as a superstar. Super beastly. Obviously, I was going to grab him every day of the week, as long as I didn't sell, which I do often. As much as Okonkwo is good, he's old, and he's not going to progress too much. Star development trait as well. 84, I guess, looks kind of cool. Kadeem White, one of the guys I had on my list. Hidden development trait. Should have traded down for him. Dale Thomas, in fairness, is normal, so that would have been a massive sell, and he sucks at power blocking. That would have been a huge sell. Shepard went too high, in my opinion, was hidden, so the Browns made a good trade up with us. I don't feel bad about it. And then the Giants with McCoy, a guy that I was going to go for, big dude. Not bad. I love the name. McCoy is always such a cool NFL name, isn't it? I still don't understand why the game does this. EA is gotta fix this. This is clearly an error on their part. Is not intended. But look at this. Malik Willis, -3 throw power. Throwing around -2. Short, -3. Under pressure, -1. Mid, -1. He's going down without even playing. Now, if he was a few years down the line, sure, I agree. But he was a rookie? Kind of, and more importantly, why would his throw power go down? He's still young. If you want to say his accuracy and his awareness and all that goes down, which, kind of makes sense because he's not playing well or not playing, which means he's not good enough to start, fair enough, but why would his throw power go down? Like, that just makes no sense. That's literally one of his core athletic abilities. Now, if there was an injury, sure, but that's not the case. All right, so the team is obviously still a work in progress, but it's getting better. We have 3 solid-looking receivers. They're obviously still all below 80, but they'll get there. Anthony Richardson will start for a full season for the first time in his young career. Offensive line, while not the greatest of overalls, kind of young for the most part. Obviously, left guard maybe you have to work on, but Diller was paid, so he's going to start at this point. And then right guard is supposed to be Barwin because he's younger. We've got depth on the offensive line as well, at least. Maybe we can trade one of these linemen off for like a 5th or a 6th or something to a really desperate team. Defense, obviously linebackers definitely need help. Corners, we'll see. Caleb Farley's obviously going to be the number 2 because, well, he's got the highest potential out of them all, and they're all pretty similar overalls. But Jalen Johnson gets the contract for us and joins us on the contract. A lot of things left to do, but the team is still coming along, and obviously we have our own first-round pick next year, which will definitely help. I don't even know who... Oh, it's Tart! Tart's a superstar now. Okay. 119 mil. Who do we have to pay? A fullback? Byard. Oof, that age, man. Tard obviously gets a contract. He's been kind of killing it, at least with DevOps. I don't know how he's actually played. We have a lot of money with not a whole lot to pay, or players to pay, so depending on free agency coming up here, we could be a playoff team next season. Maybe this season we're having a decent year, but probably next season. And forget it next season. Don't worry about making the playoffs next season because, way to ruin it. I was going to say because we won, we made it this year. It's like so damn long. Oh my God, Will Levis, the best quarterback in the league, as you would expect at this point. Let's take a look at the regular season stats. So 1-2, and then, won some games, and then at this point I was like, let's change it up a little bit, and we went a little bit more of a pass-heavy attack with the Falcons. We went with the Browns after that 2-game loss and in a losing streak, and then went with the Falcons later to try to boost Anthony Richardson's numbers up, and man, it worked. It was, we lessened the burden on our man Henry. We got, Anthony Richardson, the stats he needs to succeed. Really wish Phillips wasn't him, but it is what it is. We probably should have had the other wide receiver be the guy, but it is what it is. We're past that point. Still was really good. Perry was okay. He actually had 0 touchdowns by week 13. I'm glad he actually got on the board. Sack total specifically from 0, very solid. And then sack totals on defense. Only one guy over 100 tackles. Might have to change something up here because our pass rush is not good. Didn't change the defense at all because I was like, you know what? The numbers are actually pretty good. We had multiple double sack, digit sack guys, and Arden Key was decent, but this season was awful. Interceptions, pretty similar, but a little bit more of, one across the board. McLaughlin was better this year, and then Stonehouse keeps getting better every season, it seems. McBride was decent, with Haskins being an okay backup for kick returner. And then Anthony Richardson might have had a sneaky chance at MVP, to be honest. That touch on a pick ratio was great. However, I'm wrong. He's all the way at 8. Heineke the Packer. Please tell me that's not where that Packers team is headed. Please don't. Please don't tell me that. Where the hell is our dude? Number 4. I forgot what team we were for a moment. Henry at number 7, but he probably doesn't mind it. Phillips, I keep thinking of Kyle Phelps. 4, 6 for Burks. Really hope Burks gets another dev up. I doubt he will, but the touchdowns maybe this time. At least it was another good year from him, and then that's pretty much that for the stats and awards. Playoffs already. Okay, we'll take it. However, going against a team that just won the Super Bowl, so we'll see how well this run goes. Looking pretty good with a touchdown to start it. Ravens bounce back with a touchdown. They get another touchdown. They get another touchdown. Defense not looking great there. Obviously, some short fields given up by the offense, though, and it's not looking good for this win. But fighting hard against a team that is definitely at this point better than us. Defense is just not doing the job, though. That's the problem. But the offense will not give up. There's a chance. I mean, this team actually has given themselves a chance. Got to give it up for this offense. This offense has really done something in this one. But will it be for anything? Oh, it's a really good cut. How? Look! He's so good! He's running! Oh, my God. That was a hell of a run, dude. How? Who even was that? Bro. It was a Kareem Hunt, bro. It's my fault. I completely blew the assignment. I just didn't think that, 47. I thought 47 was going to get in there, and he didn't. That's my fault. I thought it was going to be left, and he cut it back right, and he didn't really cut it back. Look at this. He's protecting the ball the whole way. You can't catch him. That literally reminds me of the, was it Sebastian Vollmer against the Packers on the kick return? I don't even remember, but I don't want to think about it anyways. It was Vollmer, right? I believe. It's literally what it was. Vollmer protecting the ball, and he's like, screw this. These guys suck. And he started sprinting. The game, freaking Matt Flynn almost beat Brady, but the special teams had to suck. Of course, a couple interceptions from Richardson, but overall, it just wasn't a good team win. It wasn't a team win at all, but a team game, as Henry had 2.5 yards per carry on 16 carries, 3 touchdowns, which is really interesting, but yeah, it didn't really work out there. Marcus Williams with 2 interceptions, so struggling to throw against that free safety. Colts versus the Panthers in the Super Bowl. 2 teams you would expect to obviously be in it in 2024, with the winner probably being the Panthers. That scheme is busted. And not today. The Colts, our division rivals, are the champions. Don't know what kind of devos we would have had. Maybe Richardson, maybe Burks. Not the case. Not even Phillips. Really? Okay, I'm going to guess. Perry, higher overall than Burks now, or equal to at least. Let's take a look at the defense. Any dev-ups? And not that I care about. We have Arden Key, who, I mean, didn't even play as good as the first season, yet is somehow star. I really don't know what decides that, but 84 finesse, he's not a bad player by any means, but that age and the fact that he hasn't technically performed, at least this season, makes him probably a likely replacement candidate. But as far as who you would probably need to replace, inside linebackers for sure, Arden Key possibly, and then offensive line still always a thought, and then obviously the receivers. Burks is kind of at a point, he's like 25 years old, he's star, but he's not the greatest, I'll tell you, and his ceiling is not going to be the best. Unless he kills it this season, break out early, I mean, his ceiling's maybe 88 overall at best, and that's several seasons from now. So we passed up on wide receiver last season. I'm really thinking if there's decent ones this year. Oh, yeah, Jewel went up in dev, which honestly, he wasn't bad. So if he wanted like a 1 year 7.5, I mean, I'm down. We need linebacker, and he played really well for us. He's a new name for us. I know he's not athletic, which is why I usually don't go for him, but he played well. And, yeah, I mean, if there's wide receiver this year, I might have to go for him. Treylon Burks needs a contract, and also on top of it, he hasn't been he's been good, but like I said, the ceiling's not super high, and he is on the slower side, so maybe you call him a slot. I don't know, but 94 mil, if we need a wide receiver, and we do, and there's one here, maybe we take one. But who would you even say? So this is a really weak class of free agency players, but who would you even say is the guy? Corbett is interesting now. That's a name, because most wide receivers nowadays, they're not going to be in free agency. If they're decent, they just get traded. So all 4 players I wanted are gone on the target list. A lot of our money is gone. So who did we end up getting? All 4. Austin Corbett had literally like 20 teams, and they all have the same interests as us. He knows we're building something here. Baker was a 3-year 21. We really need linebackers, and I'm sick of trying to draft and develop. Deion Dawkins is a new lineman. I don't know where he's going to play. Somewhere on the line, obviously. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can maybe argue that he shouldn't be here. The Lions should re-sign him, but he was either going to be us or the Patriots. We either have to play against him or he joins our team. So take it up with the Lions, not me. So the Texans all the way at pick 1 in that top 3 again. There looks to be a generational pass rusher. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up for him, but 6'4", 248 with 21 years of age, an A pursuit, an A tackle, A to C block shed, A finesse, A pursuit, like a bunch of A's. He's insanely athletic. If this guy, I will say his speed is good, so that 4.48 might be a lie, but if he's not generational, I don't know who is. The problem is, A, he's probably going to be a top 5 pick. B, there are other pass rushers, nowhere near as good as him, but Dudley Johnson and Bradley Parks, I think I'd be willing to take, and they're obviously 1 to 2s. So we'll see. If Carmichael's there at 5, I might have to make a play. If not, I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. Tackle at number 1. Okay. Lofton. I can't believe you'd take a linebacker over that pass rusher. Still there. 6. Can we get to 6? I was definitely willing to give them 2 first-round picks. I don't think that's necessarily fair, though. I think we'd also have to give them like a 3rd, but I would rather do it next year. So there's a little bit of a loss for next season, but actually, no, I probably would rather give a 3rd this year because we weren't even that good this year. That's a lot. Let's see. Can we even get it? We can. Welcome to pick 6. Another trade where we give up a first next year. You don't see it often for pass rushers, but you also don't see pass rushers this good. Guys like Parks, sure, the A power move, B finesse you could live with, or a block shed, but really not athletic for that outside linebacker spot. Whereas this Jaden Carmichael guy looks insane. If this guy isn't a generational, that would be shocking, and it would be a mad L, but I just have to assume he is. And hidden development trade, not that fast, but 95 excel, 85 jumping. I will say only 75 strength worries me, but I got to imagine he's at least decent. If he's at least superstar, I'm happy with the trade up. If not, we sold unbelievably high. We've sold like nobody knows. It's impossible. But I will say, considering what we've done in free agency, there's not really much we need anyways. So I'm not really too worried about it. I'm pretty happy with the pick, especially if he's superstar or that generational like we talked about. We're going to trade this pick down for 69 and 101, which if the guard's still there, I'm going to take him. If not, It's fine because we actually have too many linemen as is anyways, but the guy looks like pretty good value, so I'm willing to take him if he's there just for that alone, let alone if we even have a spot for him to play, but that's for another time. Let's see, and he is there. So Jeromepkr, like we said, looks really solid. You know, not the greatest athletic abilities, and his run blocking isn't great, but the key ratings that matter in the front page look really good, which means he should be a decent overall. Please, thank you for a hidden development trade lineman. About time. And even though we really don't need him, I mean, the value is there. We're going to take the giant Sean Binns, who is sadly normal. We've been seeing a lot of sucky nose tackles. Like, we've seen a lot of really good ones that are star plus, but lately there's been a lot of normal ones. And I think with this pick, we're going to try to get something decent for next year. We had a fourth next year from the Packers. I don't even know where they would have selected, but it is what it is. Got to get as much as I can for next year because we have no first-round pick yet again, but like I said, if he's Superstar Plus, totally worth it. Position need number one by a lot. And sadly, speaking of linebackers, really haven't seen any decent ones. Normally we see those day threes that are, you know, decently fast with the A zone or the B zone. Haven't seen any in this one, so I've just not selected it, which is why I've been a little more desperate, just like this draft's offensive lineman class, to take those players in free agency. And in the 7th round, maybe a quarterback, because Malik Willis is going to need a contract, which obviously he's not going to get from us. Keenan Beckham, 88 throw power, decent speed. You know, had the best key ratings, so we got ourselves a backup. Took Casey Baggs, he's 23, but the most athletic safety by far, and I needed depth, which I don't even know if he's going to be good, but whatever. Let's take a look. The moment of truth. What the hell is this? Sim to the end of the draft. Moment of truth. Did we make an all-time sell? If this guy's only star or he's a really low overall, this is an all-time sell. Please give it to me. Hey, 82 overall. Not bad. It's the first time I've said, hey. Damn Fonzie. 83 speed, you know, not great like we said, but excels through the roof. 86 finesse. 78 power move. Block shit is awful in fairness, but he's a good player. He is really good. 85 jumping on top of it. He's solid. I got to imagine he's an X Factor. I'm hoping he's an X Factor. Is he an X Factor? Oh, he is. Of course, they give him no finesse or power move. I mean, I don't think that matters, but I'm going to give him that just for it. You know, just for the idea of that. What position do we need technically? I don't even know if it's right out or left out. I'm flustered. I'm a little bit of relief. That was a pick that was really iffy because we had to trade up a lot to get there. Run blocking from Buchanan sucks. I mean, he seems like a support lineman. We don't really need a center, but I think that's where he would play, no? Start of element trade, not really expecting anything else. I'm kind of curious to see how the other guys went, though, like how good they were, because, like I said, it was a lot of risk to get where we did, so did we make a good decision? Because once if one of these guys is Superstar or X Factor, like, this guy looks really good, and the Bears got him at, like, 20-something. Let's see if he was a good player. Star Dev. Okay, so definitely worse than our guy, but obviously really solid still. You wouldn't hate that pick, although I will say it was 17, so it was still kind of high. What about the right end? Was this the guy I had on my list and I was like, I'm not going to take him because his block shed sucks? Maybe? I think the guy was finesse that I was looking at, but really good edge rusher there too, despite the fact that he's normal. I don't remember if this guy was on the list. I don't remember if he was on the list. Parks was at 31. The Panthers with the steal. Not the fastest guy in the world, but very solid. What is the dev? If he's Superstar Plus, I still don't regret it. Our guy's amazing. And he is Superstar. Oof. Okay, so really good pick for them. A bit of a trade for us, let me tell you. Oh, here's the guy we're looking at, Ramsey, who is normal development trade 76. So there's a lot of good edge rushers. Even though they're normal, they're still really good. But obviously we got the best one. And it's not really an argument, but at the same time, it's an argument of was it a smart decision as we had to go all the way to 6, costing us our first-round pick this upcoming season. It's meme time, baby. Phillips to the Patriots for a 6th-round pick. Trying to get everything I can. Freer for 186. Once again, in Madden terms, I could probably get a 3rd for him, but as far as realism goes, I don't think he would go for that much. All right, we have the Season 3 team. We also have no first-round draft pick this year, but it was absolutely worth it as we took a generational edge. He's a weird player, though, because as much as, you know, the finesse is solid, the power move solid, the block shed isn't. He doesn't have the craziest amount of speed, and of course, he didn't even have any of the traits for pass rushing. So as much as this is a generational player, it almost like, I wouldn't say exposes the EA like sim generation, but as far as the generational goes, he wasn't like as good as I was expecting, right? Like I said, don't get me wrong, the finesse is crazy and the excel is decent, but 83 speed is far from great. And obviously, like I said, no pass rush traits before we force swim move on him. Not that it matters in a rebuild, but if you're using them, I'm pretty sure it makes a huge difference. Traits are big, at least I would assume they are, because they should, but yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He's worth it, obviously, in this realm, but as far as like a normal generational goes, I've definitely seen a lot better than that, but maybe not for edge. Like, usually it's cornerback / running back / wide receiver that are kind of the easiest to see, but edge, I almost never see them. I don't even know how many generational edge rushers there are, but I almost never see them because they're really hard to find. But at the same time, they're also usually pretty high in the draft. $69 million. Hooker probably gets the contract. Linebacker, we're probably going to have to start actually drafting soon. Burks is not asking for a lot because he's good, but he's, long-term wise not maybe the best option, but he is a number 3 wide receiver at this point. Mr. Hooker is already 27, but I think a 3-year 27, that's fine for the 27-year-old man. So we have the division locked up. Do we have a chance at the bye week? We do! At 12-5, could this actually be the season? You can see that we were actually the second best team in the entire league. Number 1 in the AFC by some sort of metric. Really good points for, in fairness. Maybe division wins? No, not division wins. Conference wins? No, not that. I don't know. Maybe head-to-head wins. I don't even know. But not a bad season at all, obviously. Playoffs and a bye week. This is obviously our best chance. Yeah, we beat the Broncos head-to-head. That was the difference maker. This is obviously our best chance to win a Super Bowl. Could this be a 3-season rebuild? Probably not, but we do have a pretty damn good team, as Anthony Richardson has his best season yet, nearly 5,000 yards, 49 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. I believe this is best, right? Like, I think he's had more yards, but I don't think his touchdown to pick ratio has been better than this. He's also wore 11 this whole time. Yeah, it is better than that, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to change that number, obviously. Unless we didn't, maybe who was wearing number 15 at the time? I don't even know, but here are the numbers. Still with over 1,000. Amon-Ra St. Brown with over 1,000 by a lot, and then A.T. Perry was 1 short. Would have been a hell of a season. Still pretty good, and then Burks was pretty good too as the number 3, technically 4th option. Offensive line played so much better this season, but still, considering how talented they are, I'd like to see a little bit less sacks allowed. Jaden Carmichael showing you why he is him. Simmons really good. Baker, where's Landry? 1.5 sacks. He's been so inconsistent in this one. McLaughlin, I gave him a 2-year, $6 million deal to. We believe in him, and he did it. Punter has been great every single season. Like I said, kind of getting better every single season, too. MVP? MVP! This is the best year we've had by far. Not even a question about it. Rookie of the Year awards, wide receiver, Offensive Player of the Year awards, best QB, MVP, all that stuff. That's got to be a ton of XP. Well, here we go, and against the Steelers, who are actually a really high overall, 87 overall. Who's their quarterback? I don't know. And is that a foreshadowing scene as the Broncos lose to the Chargers? Obviously, they would have had to win a game anyway since they didn't have the bye week because they weren't as good as us, but still, does that mean the top seeds are being taken out? 7-0, nice start, even though the defense is kind of carrying as the offense is really not putting up a lot of points despite how good it is. There you go, nice drive before the end of the half. There you go, is a nice drive to start the second half. Come on, defense, give us the Chargers treatment. Not quite the same. 21-16, offense doing just enough. 24-16, not the best performance, but that Steelers team is a high overall, and of course that defense looks pretty good. Fields is the quarterback for Pittsburgh. That is something I don't think I've seen often. Usually Fields is a bear all the way through, but not this time. Najee, the poor man's Henry, not doing as well as him. McBride, not great, to be honest. Receiving, Elijah Moore was really good. They got some interesting names here. Defensively, sack totals, we did pretty well for ourselves. Once again, little disappointed that Harold Landry's been really bad. And Jaden Carmichael, kind of as expected, to be fair, because he's a young X Factor, is already an 89 overall? That's kind of absurd. Oh, my lord. I mean, Landry's not even close to that. Dwayne McBride is being developed as a elusive back, apparently. 1 to speed, not bad at all. Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty nice build, though. Gotta admit. Also paid McCreary like a 2-year 7, so we're obviously still kind of invested in him. Not a bad slot corner. All right, championship round. Who is it? The Chargers, like we mentioned. They are lower overall than the Steelers. Who's their quarterbacks? I don't think it's Herbert. Hayward we did see in free agency. Didn't go for him, though. Oh, what is this? Is this rain? It is rain. It didn't look like rain. It looked like just straight up fog. I love that type of weather, dude. It's been kind of like that for the last few days here, and it's been perfect. It's been great. It's been wild. Now it's super windy, and it was thundering like crazy that one day. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. Please, touchdown. Oh, not even a field goal. 10-7. I don't like it. Nice. I love it. Please, one more drive for a touchdown. There you go. This defense, man. I don't know if it's just the X factor, Carmichael, but this defense has got something about it this season. I will say it's nice that we're playing some, subpar quarterbacks. But, man, this defense is kind of doing its thing. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been great ever since joining us as well. And Carmichael with 3 sacks, he's him. He's absolutely him. And our kicker missed 2 field goals. Obviously, theirs missed one too. The weather, the rain must be a bit of a problem, but we're in the Super Bowl, okay? I mean, this has been a little nonchalant. Like I said, these teams aren't the worst in the world, but considering their quarterback talent, it's it feels like a little bit of a Mickey Mouse win, if you will, but hey, it is what it is. We're still winning. Go physical. 3 to release, that's what he needed the most. So as much as physical seems like a super L upgrade, you can get those crazy release upgrades, which are huge. Jalen Johnson, another underrated signing from us. We really needed a corner, and he was there for us, and providing a huge boost to this defense, which has been so far quite locked down. The Niners in the Super Bowl. Interesting team name, 88 overall, just like us. Let's take a look. Did they have... I can't think of who the hell was the other side. It wasn't them. Okay, so they won by 3 against Washington. Wow. This defense stopped a 56-point Pittsburgh team to not 56 points, to 16. Wow, okay, so the Bears by 7 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 10. Man, I'm worried. I don't know if our defense can hold up, but we'll see. All right, DevUps would love to see the tight end join the DevUp crew. He does. No DevUps elsewhere, but that's okay. This team is still really good. Junior still very worth the pick. Upgrade, whatever, dude. Vertical threat. The vertical threat upgrades are so hit or miss, and I would consider that a hit. The route running is pretty clutch. 2 route running's nice for medium. And then defensively, any upgrades, like maybe Hooker would be great. No dev up for Hooker. Tart was already a superstar, right? So no dev ups on defense, which is a little bit of an L, but it's still a great defense. And look at Carmichael, dude. 91 overall already. He's kind of absurd. 1 to finesse is kind of a trash upgrade. I should have went for block shed. His Excel is 98, so he got 3 Excel points this season. Oh my. That is wild. That I can't find one physically, but that is kind of crazy. He's going to have 99 Excel, and also because of the upgrades, that's why you do your upgrades before the Super Bowl, because, Anthony Richardson actually went up in dev. I kind of just completely forgot about that. He's just played really well, so I just kind of assumed he was a superstar already in my head, but yeah, that's an upgrade. And of course, he has really bad deep accuracy, so we're just going to slap it all on strong arm. Makes him a scheme fit for the scheme as well. Deep accuracy is quite up there now. It is kind of joined the ranks a little bit here. 5 upgrade points now puts him at 89 overall as an X factor. We'll say didn't quite get where I wanted him to, but it's still decent. Dots, I would feel like Bazooka is probably what he deserves the most with his throw power. And then I don't really care about the other stuff, Bulldozer, whatever. Yeah, like I said, it's not great for the other upgrades really, but 2 to release. We had a 3 to release a little earlier. It's like the only way to get decent release upgrades. And I was going to say to get decent release, but that would be for a different topic. The game has built our center to be a damn great tackle, but That power blocking, ooh. But here we go, 88 overall Niners versus 88 overall Titans. I don't even know who their quarterback is. We're in Atlanta for this one. The Niners driving down for a touchdown right away. Derrick Henry, I would assume, with a huge rushing touchdown. Counters that immediately. Nice drives, 14-7, 21-7. This defense, dude, it is legit. This defense is legit. This defense has won us a Super Bowl. Obviously, the offense was great there too, but this defense, base Titans defense. So if you're wondering, you know, what defenses was to be so locked down, even though the season stats really weren't that great, it was just the Titans base. So whatever they start with, Titans defense, I think it was some sort of special 3-4. I can't remember. It definitely wasn't base. I don't remember what the hell it was, but unbelievable season and just one of the most dominating sim defensive seasons I've ever seen. Like, we normally have if the defense is really good, which usually isn't the case in general, we usually give up like 20 points at least a couple of times. Usually, there's just one game in the run where it's just not good. That wasn't the case here. This defense was good all the way through. There was no game where the defense got smoked on. But despite that being the big problem early on, we got smoked. You know, the offense was keeping up in that one playoff loss, but they gave up like almost 40 points, maybe even over 40. I will admit, once again, though, the easiest quarterback playoff defense ever, right? Each quarterback was pretty bad. Fields is like probably barely over an 80, and Jimmy Garoppolo's under an 80. Was it Jimmy Garoppolo he played? I can't remember. The quarterbacks weren't great, long story short. But yeah, this team is Super Bowl champion. I mean, there's really not much more to say about it. This team was solid. Kicking once again, Chase McLaughlin, man. Please, let me like you. That was probably the most Mickey Mouse quarterbacks I've ever seen, but that doesn't matter in Sim because EA doesn't care. They care more about the scheme than anything, but let's take a look at the team and call it a rebuild. I mean, there's not much more we need to do. How trading up a ton of capital for a franchise quarterback affected us? Not really at all. And our wide receivers weren't great, but we were competing every single season. I saw Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I jumped at the chance. Treylon Burks, they were all doing really well anyways. It's just I wanted the guy with actual overall. That release, dude, I can't believe someone with his size has that bad a release in the game. It's kind of insane. Release is still bad, despite the fact that he's kind of developed, right? Let's take a look at still. We just looked at him, but, maybe our memories aren't great, okay? Maybe some of us need a second look. I don't know. But yeah, very solid, very athletic. Don't feel like his athleticism went up at all, though. I think that's when he started with Bays. Derrick Henry at this point, 31 years old, still super talented. Speed is still there. Trucking and stiff arm is still there, if not upgraded. Solid player, obviously. Anthony Richardson we just looked at, but I kind of didn't pay attention to the speed upgrades, did I? 92 speed, 91 excel. I don't know what he starts with in this class. Got to be very similar. Might have went up one or two, I don't know, but accuracies are insane. His throw power, 98, is ridiculous. Offensive line is solid. Ended up with Jonah Williams at guard, and then Dawkins at tackle and whatnot. But offense, really solid. And then defense, the story of this one, very insane. How bad is Landry anyways? 29 years old, 85 finesse. Maybe not 1.5 sacks bad, but I can see why he wasn't like him, because, he actually isn't really that good, in fairness. Amani Hooker with 87 zone, love to see it. Thank you, EA. Thank you. Byard, he's not really retirement yet, but he's getting there. Glad to see him win a ring with this team, instead of him being gone. Definitely not the greatest, right? 88 speed, 86 zone is a little iffy, but not bad. Jalen Johnson we already looked at, but let's look one more time. Very good man in zone coverage. Speed is just good enough. Press is also insane, which definitely helps that speed lackage. I want to see Tart, because this man was a little bit of a surprise story. 85 block shed, only 79 power move, decently strong. The man went from normal to superstar in like a season and a half or something like that, and was kind of I wouldn't say a hero, but saved the position. Didn't have to draft someone in front of him. Bates, solid finesse pass rusher, which changes it up a little bit, so it's not like, dang it, you're not defending the same style all the way across the board, because obviously Simmons is going to be power as well, and see what his overall is. So 93 overall, 93 power move, 86 block shed, 99 strength, which is quite good. How good did Farley get? Because he obviously wasn't great, but 80 overall with some speed you can definitely work with. 80 man, 70 zone. It's a little iffy, but super athletic. Just good enough with Jalen Johnson. So those free agent signings we had were very clutch. Insanely clutch. Sean Murphy-Bunting was, just kind of above average throughout. Anyone else, the linebackers, probably don't matter too much, but Baker, we didn't go with any rookie linebackers. You're not going to get some like 4th round speed guy to even close to 79 block shed or even maybe 73 zone. That athleticism and really good ratings across the board. Jewel was nice as well, but there's no point in looking at him because he's like 12 speed. But here's Jaden Carmichael after year 1. Got a speed upgrade as well, which is nice. Was that recent? When was that? I don't even know, but insane rookie. Super great X Factor. Generational. 12.5 sacks year 1. And it's an edge situation that really wasn't doing the thing. But team scheme, this is what we were rocking with. So 3-4 under Tennessee. They played really well, but stats-wise weren't great, right? Like interceptions weren't crazy, although this season was better than most. And then edge specifically was really bad outside of the rookie, and Simmons usually performed, but that's just probably a high overall thing rather than a scheme thing. But as a team, the defense was locked down throughout. I mean, what was the average points allowed? So you have 10 in the Super Bowl, 7 in the conference, 16 the divisional, and then obviously we didn't play that, so 13 points off the top of my head, probably a little bit less than that. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But that's going to be it for the Tennessee Titans realistic style rebuild. I thought all the moves were pretty realistic. The only unrealistic move would have probably been Amon-Ra St. Brown, but once again, if it was not us, it would have been a conference rival in the Patriots. So in the realm of Madden reality, right? So as much as that might not happen in real life, it happens a lot in the game. So it's kind of unfair that we don't sign players because other teams can do it, so why can't we? But that's going to be pretty much it. I still think in real life, Tennessee's probably better off taking a wide receiver, at their pick, or maybe trading down, grabbing a lineman, getting as much depth as you can, because once again, they have a lot to build on that roster. I can see the idea of trading Derrick Henry because, you're kind of in a pretty deep rebuild right now. But once again, what is his value? If you're not getting at least a 2nd-round pick, there's no point, which I don't see many teams that are going to be doing that. But maybe, I don't know, he can carry, but you do have to kind of build that offense towards him. I don't know how many inside zones you're going to want to run with him, but that's about it. If you guys enjoyed this one, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe if you're new. If you're not new, really appreciate your continued support on the channel. And then, follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr. 2nd channel, PK Plays for non-Madden content. Hogwarts Legacy, the final episode should be out tomorrow. I haven't actually even recorded it yet, but I can guarantee it's the final episode based on how many quests we have left. So if you want to see that, definitely be on the lookout. And that's about it. Saturday will be probably either Steelers franchise or Seahawks franchise. Obviously, Seahawks franchise would basically be the finale for that as well. So some finales coming out here. Then Sunday would be another rebuild. There should be 2 or 3 videos on Saturday. But that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!